Started with the issue of River State. So let's quickly, we're already in River State already. So this one, I are in Lagos. We are in River State together. And so let's see the updates we have from there. The Punch newspaper is capturing, right, about the governor, Siminalayi Fubara, and saying that he's here to receive commenced impeachment proceedings against him and his deputy, Professor Ngozi, loyal to the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike. That was last Thursday, where they initiated impeachment proceedings. Governor, but a source in the government house disclosed the fact that the governor and his deputy had not received any notice from the assembly, which he also gave information about the fact that the governor just came back from his trip overseas. Pro-Wike lawmakers, according to reports, had backed the media appeal that was yesterday during a press conference in Port Harcourt, and calling for an alternative. Southerners had also called on the assembly to exercise restraint and explore options outside the impeachment process. Well, that's the reports we're getting from the Punch newspaper.
Governor Siminalayi Fubara, what you can call inside sources within the River State government, are saying, and I've been quoted to have said that after that motion to begin impeachment proceedings, they will be sending in that notice round. He just came back over the weekend. He attended a church service, and that there are no evidence. There's no evidence anywhere. Question that comes is, the other question is, how is an impeachment notice expected to be served on the governor? Are they going to use a dispatch rider? Will the speaker himself take the letter to the office of the governor?
Well, which one is dispatch rider? It's about.
Can they use a dispatch rider?
Right, I understand.
Okay, how is the state assembly expected to serve a notice of impeachment on the governor? Look, as you receive, you must acknowledge a receipt of the letter.
Right, of course. But you know that this is not the first time this is happening, especially in River State.
In River State, yes.
So there has been a way they have been. I think the first one they served the governor with the letter already.
Okay. But in the case where the office of the governor decides not to, those are also legal implications for this. For example, in tenancy agreement, if they bring a quick notice to you as a tenant, and you decide not to receive it, I think legally it is permissible for them to paste it or to collect it. But as in Lemolier, they've pasted it on the door.
And you can't say you didn't see it. You enter your house and you didn't see the notice.
They will even take and they paste it at the door of the governor or the front of the government house and snap it as evidence that, well, it's been served.
What if before the governor gets to the office?
Show that, look, these things are not as easy, especially when you have vested interest, entrenched vested interest, super interest within and outside of River State, or all having a say or a hand in what is happening in that particular state. Now, just yesterday, politics. You understand what I'm saying? They didn't just say lawmakers. If they said lawmakers, you would have probably thought, okay, maybe they were who have now said, oh, we think there should be other ways. Yes, the governor.
Hello?
But
Fuad, can you hear me? It's a reception. Still trends in the papers on Mail and United. Pandef, right? According to the Niger Delta. Land on your thoughts.
So you might begin to see more assembly members pull out of the impeachment proceedings. Again, how that is going to happen, or how that is already happening, I cannot say for a fact. But the reality is that, look, there are ways this thing could have been. Now, there are people who have said, for example, the governor is not playing his politics well. That, look, any other governor with the kind of resources available to provide, if you understand what I'm saying. But I'm not saying money now, but resources. For people who understand what I'm saying.
And structure.
So, because, again, we are talking about the kind of dirty politics we like to play in Nigeria. So when you see Nigeria, not any progressive politics. I was watching TV yesterday, and an analyst was saying, Fubara does not understand politics. It's not a well-grizzled politics. That if it were other politicians, they would have handled it better. They are actually talking about debt
of that state.
Look, doing it better is basically buying everybody over. The politics of patronage. Politics of what money cannot do, more money will do. That's what they are saying. And that's why we are not making any headway. Ask them, what kind of politics are you talking about? Of the people. About progressive politics. We're not talking about politics that puts the interest of the people above national interest. But again, if you cannot beat them, like they say, you what?
Join them. All right, side for it's to every person that has been following the politics of Rivers State, right? And
Yes.
Wike has not been silent about the fight, so to say, that the reason for the fight, it is so glaring
Yes.
that this is not for your interest. I don't know. Maybe it's for, I don't. Okay, maybe the interpretation of what their interest is.
People of Rivers State don't know. They know bigger and mightier than the institutions of the state, of the mind and the pocket. So for these people to toss them around, that's why you see that when they are weak, you think anybody who has a decent job, an entrepreneur will be at his business, at his really. My mind tells me that there are other interventions from the supreme leader.
Right.
The supreme political leader of Nigeria today is already intervening.
As expected.
And like I've told you, every other interest in the political space, even the weaker interest, is any state in Nigeria at all. Not the country at this time. And for Rivers State, whatever is interest.
Well, anyway, let's see how it plays out, right? Like we are seeing a couple of updates. So it's some backing out of the impeachment process, this and that. We'll see how this. The business angle of what's happening, our economy, so to say, especially when it comes to the oil sector, importation, and all of that. The Punch newspaper is capturing the 2-year right. According to report, they said the amount spent on the importation of refined petroleum products has now dropped sharply by 54% in 2 years, falling to data from the CBN's balance of payment reports, a disappointing period of 2024, before then dropping further to $6.71 billion within 9 months. In fuel importation, with import bills declining, highlights.
These figures, as reviewed and by the Punch newspaper, obtained from government on that, other than the doggedness, the determination of the owners of Dangote refinery to ensure that the refinery keeps going. Whatever they've been able to do, strong, is still in a very serious battle with its regulators and the marketers and some of the stakeholders within the petroleum sector in Nigeria. So the report basically is talking about a drop in importation of refined petroleum products. But again, if you read the report completely, you see that, look, what it also says is that, look, it has helped with reducing the pressure on foreign exchange, and all our petroleum product needs has to be in an oil-producing nation be solely dependent to import refined petroleum products into the country, whereas oil reserve and also sell refined petroleum products to also bring in foreign exchange. But what we have now is a situation where we are at least to almost like a 50%. Can't we also build more refineries locally? Why can't we revamp the ones we have? We need to sell them, commercialize them, concession them. The more
right, definitely, because like you mentioned, to Dangote, I don't know.
We will hope that in 2026 there will be, still looking at Mr. Bayo Ojulari, who has not clearly said anything as to what is an understanding of the petroleum sector. He should have had an idea of
trying to gather
the money before now. He was not part of the people. The plans are for those refineries, but there's nothing on the table for now.
Are in the business page, billion naira shortfall in October. Last revenue gap of 92.93 billion naira in October, after billing only 48.66 billion naira billing shortfall. And out of the total billing, it also collected 210 Regulatory Commission commercial performance fact sheet for October that was released yesterday. And the disparity between 2.45 percentage points compared to the previous month, that's September 2025. And this deterioration, actually, I applied energy into billable consumption and revenue side for, with the different things we are still battling with our power sector.
There's nothing still so useless that they cannot even collect their own money. You don't understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
You know, it's my mind tells me the discourse. Even though you have the grid collapsing every now and then, than the discourse. If you understand how inefficient, how ineffective, they are still neighborhoods because maybe something happens for 3, 4, 5 days, they cannot fix fault. So they are so look. They are not even able. There's a billion shortfall.
Billion decline.
Of about 40 billion. Now, there's something about the issue. As they receive, were they able to supply it effectively? And that is why, okay, what you know it solves the problem.
Yes. They were able to accurately.
No, because prepared is you pay before you use.
Yeah.
So, but do you know why the discos are so happy to still keep the supply, the demand needs of their customers? So, in reality, the amount of money they are supposed to receive. That's why I said that. Let's move to another thing. People, if you have communities, look, you have people who call and say, oh, for almost 3 months we have been in darkness. Those are customers they should ordinarily make, especially in the urban or semi-urban area. Who still calling to say, oh, for 3, 4, 5 months, you will see people say, oh, what you want. So when you see the discourse complain of insolvency, they don't have money. Those are people that should pay them good money.
Get more details on that. You get to find that in the Guardian newspaper. Let's quickly talk about, rep of KPMG with an counter accusations over the new tax laws, right? So according to the NRS, there had been back and forth between both authorities over the perceived shortcomings of the outs with gaps, errors, and contradictions. Definitely, the federal government responded with an explanation, noting that the KPMG they just did not understand the laws quite well, and so they had a meeting. The NRS said the KPMG executives, commended the allayed. Well, according to the meeting they had yesterday.
Well, the thing is that KPMG, one of the big four, like they say, in the financial world, and as experts. As an organization of Rᴇᴠ, that already. Yeah. So that we don't waste our time.
Yeah.
The only surprising thing was were deliberate choices by the tax committee to see that representatives of KPMG had met with the NRS, and I think with the representative of the tax committee to discuss some of these things. I think that's a better way than to grandstand to say, oh, they don't know what they are saying. Those things, you're like, oh, I'm on contact and say, you can't be Mr. Know-it-all. Or you really can't be pointing your attention to things. I think there were gaps, there were inconsistencies and errors in what they have come up with. But I think for the sake of information, we just leave it at that.
Right. That's the handle. And we have Said Fuad also giving analyses and several perspectives to this issue. Let's talk about which yesterday they were supposed to commence on nationwide strike, which they suspended following direct presidential. The president of NAD at FMC Abeokuta at the expiration of the 2-week suspension of the FMC, NAD FMC Abeokuta, Dr. Tʀᴇɪᴅs Iṛ saying that the association hoped that the federal government would fulfill its promise on the demands or the doctors may embark, including the not paying arrears, among others. And he also urged the federal government, to consider the welfare of the doctors who refused to seek greener pastures, but they decided to stay to work in the last 5 years and less than 10,000 remaining in really.
Nobody, honestly, in the medical sector, it's education to this problem.
Retired officers, pensioners.
So, doctors were supposed to go on strike. Start their strike to suspend the strike, hoping that majorly it's about welfare. Apart from infrastructure deficit, diagnosis, negligence, go to hospitals. You look at the crowd. Go to any government hospital, and it's not just it's assessing them, checking them, reading reports. It's telling them to go and do this test, recommending drugs for them. It's crazy. They really get in reality for the job they do compared to what they would have gotten, like the doctor has said from the FMC Abeokuta, if they decided to travel out. Now that they remove subsidy, there's more money available to government. The health of the people should matter to them.
Right.
Get our hospitals functional, especially because these government hospitals are the ones poor Nigerians use. As we are speaking, non-medical staff are. So we are not even talking about infrastructure gap now. That's also a factor. Because how many of our government hospitals are from the government doctors, government hospital doctors? If you see any doctor anywhere that are all those Igbiriko, all those hospitals you see, in all nurses who do those kinds of service, how much do they really collect from people? In reality, they are the media outlets, giving awards. Yeah, it become more like a commercial award, selflessly. But the way they identify them to commend them and give them awards, even if it become really, I don't want to use the word worthless, but
I don't know. Some
if you
things.
go to Lady Mo, if you go, or boys who are reading nursing, if you ask them what their plan is after graduation, what is it? But because they look at when they go for internship or housemanship or what do you call it, they see the reality of the demand over there.
Now, from that quickly, let's talk about an update from the perspective to be kidnappers have demanded 100 million naira for the release of 8 Mᴏᴜ indigents abducted last Friday night at a hotel in the area in Edo North, and it stated that the victims had gone to Ibilo for a function and decided to lodge for the night at the hotel, which also belonged to an indigent of that really waiting for someone. After a while, they accosted the owner of the hotel, seized his 2 phones. They said they also seized the phones of Mona commended the personnel of Edo State Police Command and the state government for their efforts at rescuing the abductees. 8 of them are currently in the kidnappers' den, including one woman. The kidnapping, looked like an inside job, according to the reports. If one considers the way the gunmen spoke to those that they were.
It's become widespread. There are criminals down south here who are looking at what is happening in the north. Lady Mo. No deterrence, no punishment.
Yeah.
The negotiations that happen. I've been told that look verified that some will show themselves. In fact, they say sometimes they won't answer of them displaying it has become a lucrative business. The police of the Nigerian police youths are to protest it, and they're actually calling the governor out. And Mr. Man, the security of lives and property in the state. Now, this is a kidnapping situation. My mind tells me that these are local criminals who have done this. We just have to do what we need to do to get rid of kidnappers' approach to this issue. The more it begins to spread, because others will also see as a form of lucrative business in the criminal world. So, when it was said that in Katsina State, we have now descended to the point of even having a prisoner bandits that are facing prosecution so that they can release our own people. We are releasing known bandits that is the situation. About 15 local governments are in that kind of arrangement in Katsina State. Let them move. We are doing disagreement with bandits.
Where we are talking about this and that, we're also talking about unemployment issue, maybe part of the factor leading to an haidu, and is the devil's workshop and all of it.
You understand? It's like a Shamar situation. More Nigerians are going to slide into poverty, about 65 people. It's just what it is. Societies that will tell you crime rate is 0%. If you get to those societies, it's not because they have more policemen or they have policemen, food, clothes, and shelter. The tendency to want to commit crime, the motivation is no longer there.
Yeah.
But you can feed yourself.
It's not greed. It's not greed that can now.
it comes after you. But you have this level of poverty.
Issue. Just as a group of newly recruited staff of CBN are now crying out over the delayed posting and onboarding into various positions since last year, 2023, August 28, 2023. Apparently, they were told to resign their previous place of work. They applied, they did, the darkness, hoping and waiting, though they are calling on the federal government, calling on concerned staff, appealing to the CBN governor and the president to wade into this matter. Because now they are actually jobless. That's the issue we have in the Guardian. Have in dailies this morning. The Punch newspaper also captured. Okay, on the fuel imports, you have that on page 2 in the Punch newspaper. And also 2027 APC targets 9 million registered members. Opposition kicks. PDP APC fight for control of Osun as two lawmakers also pulled out. That's also in the Punch newspaper. And also from the foreign scene, Trump threatens airstrikes on Iran as protest death hit six. That's all we have. We'll come back for Mail and Focus.